Welcome to the Wealth Podcast, Off With Your Coat, a podcast on women's health and wellness where we flip the script and ditch the surface level chatter. We need to ask the real questions. Let's get back to storytelling and back to basics to help us uncover how to set ourselves up for true health and wellness and pass it on. I'm Kat Duff, founder of GenWell, the women's health advocacy brand building wealth, the intersection of health and wellness. Some days it's me and a doctor, coat off, talking about what really matters. No fluff, no filters. Other days, it's East meets West, trading tools, not punches, to help move women's health forward. We're building generational wealth. Come with us. Coats off, let's go. Hi, ladies. Welcome back to Off With Your Coat. We have a fun episode today. It is a solo pod. I'm going to give you a little update on what's been going on personally with me and also let you in on a little secret. We've been working on a special project for the last year, which is our third pillar of GenWell, and we're actually launching it today. So if you are listening on Thursday, today is the freaking day. We are so pumped. So make sure to listen to the end to get all of the good details. So there is a lot of shit happening. I just finished weaning my daughter about a month ago. We breastfed for 2.5 years, which is a long time. I never really set a breastfeeding goal. I did struggle with my son and my daughter at first blush. And it's interesting. I actually went to a functional dentist recently. I moved our whole family over to this practice. And the dentist was in my son's mouth and was like, he has a tongue tie. And I literally got so angry because the amount of physicians that I asked, hey, do my kids have a tongue tie? Do they have a lip tie? And everyone to say no. Granted, my son was born during the pandemic, so I had less like hands-on lactation support by way of me, talking to some random woman in Atlanta who was looking at photos of my boobies. With my daughter, we had a lactation consultant and had all of these things. So I don't know where that discrepancy is in terms of tongue ties, but apparently that's why I was having so much pain when I was breastfeeding. I muscled through it. I ended up getting mastitis with my son. With my daughter, I didn't have mastitis, but I still had, bleeding nipples, had to get the all-purpose nipple ointment, all of that pain. So we're going to dive into that soon. We're going to have a functional dentist on the episode because I want to understand even like all the way at the beginning for kids and for us in our evolution of what are the bounds of a tongue tie, what needs to be treated versus what doesn't need to be treated. And then as you grow up, what is your jaw development supposed to be? Because apparently, like I grew up, I had a palate expander. And then they were saying that my son may need to get a palate expander, which makes sense because he is my son, but it could be contributing to like airway and sleep issues and behavior issues and all of this. And so I'm really compelled to dive in. So definitely drop me a comment if you want to learn more about holistic dentistry or if you have specific questions, because we will be going into that in the next couple of weeks. But back to the breastfeeding part. So I finally just said no to breastfeeding. I was getting the ick. Not like a dating ick, well, kind of like a dating ick. She was kind of like fumbling the other nipple. And so anytime that what used to be this really wonderful connection moment or a moment for me to try to like turn my brain off also and be able to have that time with her was met with this like repulsive feeling. So when I was talking to Emma Pickett, this lactation consultant, she confirmed with me, that you need to stop. So I was on Reddit and I found this book called Booby Moon, which sounds hilarious, but I was like, I'll try anything. Honestly, I feel like so many women have a tough time specifically with toddlers because they can talk, because they know what's going on, because you've really built this foundation of bonding through this time. It isn't the nourishment part of that, but we all know the benefits of, later term breastfeeding. But anyway, Booby Moon it's really cute. I mean, they talk about what the importance of breast milk, and then when you're a big girl or boy and you don't need it anymore, you can actually send the milk off to the moon in a balloon. Maybe it doesn't sound cool, but anyway, we sort of made it into a big girl party. So we got pizza and we got her a cake made, and we live in a mid-rise in the city, so we let the balloon go out to the moon, and it literally went out to the sky and then went dramatically down, got pulled down in a wind tunnel. And so we all just pretended and said, "Oh my gosh, it went up to the moon. This is amazing." And the whole idea is that the breast milk going to the moon allows another child to be able to get breastfed by their mom when they're born. And so I think being two, she was able to understand that. And it was just really beautiful. And then we celebrated. We, put on some Danny Go, did some dancing, had some cake. And it kind of had this amazing spiral trickle down where then she was like, I want to potty train and do all these things. And I'm a big girl. And I don't know if you know that song. It's like, watch out for the big girl. Watch out for the big girl. So we really just made a day of it. And on one of my recent podcasts, I interviewed Gigi Kenny of Luru, which is a beautiful Indonesian ceremonial practice for women. And she talked about how when she grew up, her mom actually gave her a flower bath when she got her period. And I was like, how cool is this next generation that she's going to be able to do that for her daughter in the US, bring that cultural experience. I was able to give my daughter this like big girl ceremony, I guess, if you could call it that. But I think we need to start thinking about more ways that we can bring that into young girls' lives, these moments of celebration of our life and our bodies versus the stigma, the shame, the negativity, because how incredible will that be for them down the line? I mean, awesome. I will say weaning this time was a little bit tricky for my hormones. So I was also ready to wean because I had, when I got my period, PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, was off the fucking wall. Anytime that I would, be approaching that 10-day window, luteal phase before my period, I was a nightmare. Like everything would seem insurmountable. I didn't want to do work or work out or just normal things were not making me happy. And I was like, this is not me. Thankfully, I've had a great network of practitioners around me. So I knew that it was PMDD. I knew some of the sort of tricks to help my mood and my energy and my hormones in that time. But it was a really rough 8 months where I am at times surprised I'm still married. Just really not a good time in my life to feel like that, feel really flat and like I can't do the things that I normally would be enjoying. So, anyhow, with the first cycle now after breastfeeding, the PMDD went down dramatically. It's like maybe 2 days before my period, I have really excessive PMS, but that like existential dread has diminished, which I don't know that that's everyone's experience. I was told that that first full cycle after weaning is typically the worst. So it could vary, but there is hope for some of us that we're getting those, more horrific symptoms because when you're breastfeeding, you have that low estrogen. I feel now that we're on our like second cycle, I actually feel pretty good. So we'll see how everything's going. The next thing that came with weaning is getting a mammogram. So I have been getting mammograms and ultrasounds for the last 11 years. My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer at 38. I am 38 this year. I didn't realize how much anxiety I was harboring when I went to the mammogram this go around. For all of you listening, mammograms, they do not hurt. They are uncomfortable, yes. It's odd because they're literally trying to shove your boobies in this little machine that's squishing them like a pancake. But it doesn't hurt. It's odd and uncomfortable, but you are fine. You will be great. There are amazing clinics that will help you through the process. And we'll investigate at some point. There are amazing, I wouldn't say alternatives to mammograms, but additional screenings that are coming out that I think are worth spending some time to investigate. But book your mammograms, book your cervical exams, do all of the things to make sure that we can get our preventative health in order. So I get to the mammogram. It was super quick and easy. They were so kind. And she said two things. She was saying, we're getting a lot of younger women in here with breast cancer, which we know is happening and it's very alarming. And two, she was saying there's a lot of younger women that come in here and they're really nervous about the exam. And I think we just need to do more education on the process and like when to push for these exams so that you have all of the information in your arsenal, but also like when it can be too much information. Like you do hear of women that are getting diagnoses because the test is very sensitive and because you have dense breasts and all of that. So I encourage you to find a great OB to speak with. If you have a genetic history, talk to a geneticist and see, what those options are for you to learn and understand more about your risks. But super important. So anyhow, I get the results back. Thank God, knock on wood. There was no instance of breast cancer. And I just literally like the floodgates opened. I didn't realize how much I was harboring that angst around being the same age that my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. And it was a lot. It was really an emotional release, and I'm grateful that I do not have that. I will continue to do all of my proactive screenings, but also lifestyle, nutrition, all of that. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that to say, I see you if you're going through a tough time or are anxious around any sort of medical testing, but know that there are awesome providers to look for that can sort of help you through. And you can always get second opinions. It doesn't have to be, oh, it's an OB, let me go to another OB. Like there's other avenues to talk to so that you can get all the information that you need. Okay, last thing I want to talk about before I give you the big reveal is pelvic floor therapy. We have been doing pelvic floor therapy now for about 4 months, and it is baller. I had interviewed Kathy Cates a while back, and I had since met with her. She gave me an initial exam. It was fairly interesting. I mean, you literally are on the bed. She gives you a mirror, and she's just like peeling back the layers, teaching you about your anatomy. And I'm sitting here like, how am I this old? And no one's ever taught me about my actual anatomy. We had our initial meeting when I was still breastfeeding. So she was like, you can actually see your like vulvar tissue that it's white because it's dry. So she was like, if you want to do something about this, like you can do local estrogen to help with dryness and like better sex and all that type of stuff. It is safe because it's not systemic, but I actually ended up opting out of that because I was like, it's not necessarily my priority right now. So we decided to do pelvic floor therapy for a couple of months and then meet with her and then see, okay, when I'm done breastfeeding, how does my body respond to that? What do my hormones look like? I just turned 39 last week. So could it be perimenopause? Does it have to be? Are they just hormone fluctuations that we should address that could make my life better on a day-to-day basis with sleep, with mood, with sexual health, all of that stuff? So I will tell you, he is incredible. We have a really tight pelvic floor because I've danced my whole life. And I don't think I realize how much on a daily basis that I am gritting. And also because I clench. So there's a really strong connection between your jaw and your pelvic floor. So within that, I think when I harbor a lot of stress, it's both in my jaw and my pelvic floor. So the therapist really made me feel extremely comfortable. I cannot talk more highly about Wellist, which is in the Boston area. They are just really good with treating women like they need to be treated. I mean, they're not trauma-informed care specialists, but they act like it. Doing everything to make you feel extremely comfortable with a pelvic exam, or they do internal massage actually for pelvic floor PT for some folks. And just like saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do. Does this feel comfortable? Like I had never had an OB or someone else ask me those questions. And I personally haven't had any trauma in that way, physical trauma, sexual assault or trauma, but so many women have, and it's really hard to talk about. So having someone from the get-go that you don't have to ask to treat you with that care and compassion is absolutely incredible. So let us help you dig to find those right providers. So I, again, didn't really know that they do internal massage. And I was like, well, what is this going to be like? Am I going to have an orgasm? Like, what is it? So no, I mean, it's literally your pelvic floor is the basin of your body, right? It's the basin of your spine. It holds all your organs in. And if it fails, then there you go. You're losing all of your strength. You could have prolapse, urinary incontinence, all of the things. So in order to almost like get the knots out of your pelvic floor, she's literally in there massaging it out. And at first you would feel it. It feels like knives. And then after a few sessions, it softens out and you feel it like back pain, hip pain, like orgasms are so much better. Constipation is so much better because, obviously it's connected to your rectum. You're just relaxing that whole area. I mean, I cannot say more good things about pelvic floor health. And talking to someone about it, getting an exam. And this goes for anyone. It doesn't matter if you've had a baby or not. This is for everyone. Like, we should be having these checks. I remember Kathy saying, like, when we're 16, just to get a baseline. So that's sort of my update for today. Make sure you're getting your preventative exams. Check out pelvic floor therapy wherever you're at, because it is life-changing. They also, one more note on that, give you a pelvic wand to do it at home. It's interesting. I haven't figured it out. It's a little too long and I can't really get the right angle yet. So stay tuned. Maybe we'll figure that out and I can give you an update. But there's been a lot happening over here, trying to investigate some new things for my health and my family's. And alongside that, we have been building behind the scenes on an incredible third pillar for Genwell called Femme. Femme is our supper club arm, our experiential arm, a moment for women to gather in person to figure out how to storytell about their health. We do not know how to talk about our own health in the right ways to help other women move forward, get to the right contacts, to find answers that work for their nuance. The idea behind Femme really is that women deserve more than one point of view. How do we bring women, clinicians, founders in on both Eastern and Western medicine to sit at the same table, to get out of their echo chambers, to be able to break down the divisiveness and hierarchy, and to just have real, raw, honest conversations around one health topic? So for the first one, we're launching perimenopause, which I'm so freaking excited about because we also need to get ahead of life stages. How can we have a powerful group of women sitting at one table from various different backgrounds, whether that's cardiology, gut health, holistic dentistry, hormone health, workplace advocacy for midlife? How do we get all of these voices in one room to share not only clinical expertise, but their lived experience and marry the two? Think about how incredible that is just for women to learn from one another, but then also to pass it along. And so we will be creating a repository of information that we gain from these suppers to then share out to our greater Genwell community. So make sure you're following at Genwell Official, GENWELL Official, and also make sure you're subscribed to Off With Your Coat, obviously, wherever you listen. But we will be providing all of the updates. We will have subsequent dinners this year with the idea that we have a full slate of suppers in various different touch points in the US in 2027. So this is really a place where we can gather, bring back that idea. I mean, think about how we used to get shit done. We were in these secret societies meeting about health. Women wrote the first medical texts, and then we were silenced. Not sort of dissimilar to what's happening in this, what should I say? Under his eye. But yeah, let's bring it back. Bring it back to the table. Connection is everything. And when a woman is empowered, we change everything around us and we inspire others to do the same. So with that, I am psyched to introduce Femme, our newest arm of Genwell, and I cannot wait for all of you guys to become a part of it. Cheers to you, cheers to our health. Let us know also in the comments for any themes that you want the Supper Club to come across, and we can include that in our slate for the upcoming suppers. And I cannot wait to connect with you all wherever you get your Genwell content. So until then, we'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.